engage, reflect, laugh, get comfortable, be you, relax and chill, sweatpants and coffee chat, freshly brewed, nice and hot, come sip, let's chat.
Hello, friends. Get in here. How are you? So we are so excited to be back with you. And today's episode is around social media anxiety. Mm-hmm. What is it, and what is the impact that social media is having on everyday folks? Mm-hmm. I mean, young and old, and how does it impact, some of the symptoms of like anxiety and depression, and the list goes on with that.
Yes. So today we're just gonna kind of figure out what are our perspectives on this whole social media and how it plays a part on our anxiety and things like that. Yeah. So I want to start off with, obviously we're not medical doctors, we're not clinicians, we're not anything like that. We can only give you our perspective and how we feel about certain things and based off our research and what we read and stuff like that. So correct. I just want to put that out there, that we are not telling you to diagnose yourself.
This is not prescriptive.
This is not to diagnose anybody, and so that's that.
Yeah.
But I want to start the conversation with, obviously feeling this anxiety that people are starting to feel with social media being such a big platform, and how people are literally making their money. They're getting noticed on these social media platforms, and so it's bringing this "I need" feeling, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess we could start off with the addiction kind of aspect of feeling like I need it.
But what is it, right? Yeah. So what do you understand social media anxiety to be?
So for me, social media anxiety is feeling like the need to be present on social media, feeling the need to kind of, I need to post, or I need to see, or I need to be on there. And then I need to make sure I get a certain amount of likes. I need to get comments. I need to get views on my stories, on my reels. And it becomes such a I need feeling where you're not enjoying it anymore. And
so that's where the anxiety comes in, because it creates this anxious energy.
Yeah.
And if
that's how I'm getting it.
Because even with Apple, and I'm sure Android implemented, screen timing, right? Or how much screen time, and actually now starting to consider that. So I know some people try to break the mold in terms of I'm not, disbanding their pages, or after a certain time I'm not going on social, to try to stop us from this. There's also the aimless scroll, you're bored and you just you pick up your phone. I've even noticed there are moments when I miss out and I'm not present, because it's your finger has its own mind, and you have this need to scroll on whether it's TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. So then there's this struggle when you can't do it. I literally sometimes have to decide to put my device away from me to ensure
that you are present in the moment with your family and friends.
You ain't scrolling, rereading text messages, you scrolling on social.
Yeah. So I that's how I perceive to be social media, because I feel as if it's something that people are getting so addicted to, or feeling the need to have to be present. And then the need for likes and comments and stuff is it would give somebody anxiety, especially someone like myself who suffers from anxiety. I could totally see how it could be oh, I didn't get enough likes. Is it not good enough? Is it not this? You could play this over and over in your head. So I could totally see how it could become a factor, right? But you have to own it too. You have to own that you are this person.
Indeed.
Right? Own that you are the person that does it, and then do stuff to help yourself get the kind of help that you need. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the one thing that we haven't really mentioned, the fact that on social media, you are perceived as something, and maybe you're really even not this person, right? So, we had a previous conversation about the need for women to be a certain way on social media platforms, and feeling like they need to be perceived in a certain way, have a certain picture out there, or be sexy or not be sexy, or do this or do that. And for me, it would literally take all of my energy to have to be somebody else on a certain platform. But again, people are making money off these things. So obviously they feel the need to be this person on these platforms. So what do you think about really not being the person that you are kind of telling people that you are on social media? Men and female.
My perspective, social media is not real. It is generally not organic. And so I have a very different experience than you with social media, and not to say that not to say that I don't understand the value and the impact of social media, obviously, because, my background is in marketing, and I actually, we have a whole business that thrives and consults on virtual and digital engagement. So I do understand the value. For me, it's just not real. I understand that even in consulting clients, everything is a strategy. Even for influencers, for schools, for organizations, for institutions, what we post is strategic based on what we need you to know, right? So when we think about influencers who may be lifestyle brand influencers, their strategy is all around what is their point of view? What do they need you to know? What are they most known for? So everything that they post is going to be around that. So if I'm posting around having a clean home and organization, right? I'm an influencer around tidiness and organization. I'm likely not going to post what my house looks like when my kids tear the place up. Or maybe I am, but I'm then going to show you this after effect. But I'm certainly not going to show you the fact that I'm exhausted and maybe don't want to get to this point and what that process looks like. And so that's what I mean when I say, it's not as organic, I think, as people want to believe. But for me personally, and I would not ever consider myself an influencer per se, but I'm definitely into branding, brand deals, into being an ambassador of something, right? I cannot say that when I post, I put the phone down and I'm checking it to see how many likes I get. I'm not that concerned. I'm more concerned with the fact that I'm executing my strategy. I'm not going to say that I don't, again, right? Because even with putting content out, you do need to assess data and all these things. But for me, I have the exact opposite experience of you. I don't necessarily struggle with anxiety. Not to say something can't make me anxious. However, for me, I use Instagram and Pinterest and things like that as a source of entertainment and even inspiration. So I'm not feeling anxious because there's this theory of comparison, right, that goes on. And that's where it gets very dangerous. Cardi B posted something or posted a particular, the new Chanel bag, or posted what success looks like for Cardi B. And now I'm comparing myself. And maybe that's not a great example because that's not someone who's on your level, but another entrepreneur
it could just be anybody.
Posts their wins. And now you are comparing yourself to what this person's success looks like. You're not considering how long they've been doing it, why they're doing it, where maybe their strategy is different from you, but you have this comparison and this anxiousness to get to where they are. And again, oftentimes where it's not organic is because some entrepreneurs don't post their process. They don't post the weeks where they're not generating any sales, or, what they look like in their house with their bonnet on, because presentation is everything. So just like how when we grew up, you always hear, you don't come out the house looking any kind of way, or first impression is people treat Instagram the same way. First impression is, everything. So what you're putting out is the polished, cleaned up version of you, of your brand, and all of these things. And so what I have noticed is like an influx of folks who are trying to say, I'm going to do a better job. And it's oftentimes in stories. I'm going to do a better job at showing you the real. When we think about influencers or celebrities or folks within that realm, Sarah Jakes Roberts is really good at that. And she will post herself barefaced and say, this morning, she thrives on women's empowerment. And she'll say, this morning, I didn't feel like Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts, the woman you guys are all, admiring. Today, I woke up scared. Today I woke up afraid. Today I didn't feel like it. Today I felt defeated. And oftentimes it's very rare that you find folks that find a space in their strategy to really share those things. So for me, social media is not real. And I think because I understand that, I have a bit of a disconnect with the need to compare and the likes. And I also, because I understand how it works.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think it's most dangerous too. Like for me, I don't really care too much about the likes and stuff like that. I just want our business to do well on that. So I think I kind of, obviously my anxiety is more like, oh, did our business page, more than my lifestyle brand, it's more, did the business page ad generate sales? Did it do well? Did it get likes? Did the reels do well? Only because I want our business to prosper. So I think that's the one that I kind of like clock a little bit more.
And I think that's what you should care about.
That's the one that I do care about.
Did it generate money?
Yeah. Did it do anything?
Cares? Who cares how many people liked it?
Yeah, like did it do anything for our sales, or did it get us noticed? Did we get more followers? I just want our business to do well. So that's the one I clock really the most analytically. But I think it becomes dangerous for people when they start to change their images, based off of what they see on social media with all the BBLs and breast implants and, all these other things that are changing what you look like in your image based off of what you see on social media. So I think that's the dangerous part of things. Indeed. Where, I won't lie and say that I'm not one of those people that have been like, oh, she looks great. But at the same time, as much as she looks great, I know it's not real. Right? Like I know it could be photoshopped. I know that she had work done. I know that, certain things could be real and certain things could not be real. And I would hate to compare myself to something that has been altered in a way in which I have not altered who I am. Right? Like I'm still the same person. Yeah. So if I had a BBL, maybe I would look like that. If I did have that, I would look like that. But the scary part is to really think about the fact that you would go and have plastic surgery so that you could look like someone else that you've seen on social media. So that part is the dangerous part for me.
Because for some people, it creates this, I'm not enough. And
then that's the anxiety part that's the anxiety part that I feel, thank God I don't have that. And if I had to knock on wood, I would, because as much as I could say, oh, she's a beautiful person, I could also appreciate the fact that maybe if she had work done, or maybe it's photoshopped and maybe this, and not compare myself and say, oh, I'm not enough, right? And then it comes to men, right? Like men do the same thing. They're posting jewelry and new sneakers and stunting, and then they are living in a basement, can't afford to do this and can't afford to do that. They're still driving the same Honda. They're renting cars when they're on vacations because, they want to put up an image, because as men, they're supposed to be this person.
It's like they go to prom every day.
And yes, exactly.
Like when you get you get the outfit and the car,
and everything that you buy has to be of a certain caliber or needs to be something else. And that's why I said it's not just females; it's also males that suffer from wanting to be something else for the brand. So yeah, I feel as if like social media anxiety is a whole real thing, and it could create anxiety even in people who don't even suffer from anxiety.
Indeed.
In both men and females, because I would hate to have to be anxious about when I'm going to post and what it's going to look like and Photoshop it for 6 hours at a time. It would make me exhausted to have to be somebody else. So I could totally see how social media plays a factor for certain people and the young people too. Like, I mean, we're talking,
and it makes you wonder as parents, right? How young is too young to allow your child then to start to get into the social media realm because of what it is creating. I remember one mom of a student of mine, the little girl at the time, was Facebook, and she was like, Mom, I want a Facebook. And her mom said, and what do you want a Facebook for? Because Facebook is usually used to start a conversation because it was all about the feed. She was like, what exactly are you going to tell the people, you 10-year-old?
Yeah, like, exactly. What conversations are you having?
What is it that you have to say? Now, I do think that, with YouTube being, as viral as it is, TikTok being, and these, as viral as it is, and these platforms are a source of information, you do have young people who are extremely funny, who have a point of view, or who are really skilled, and I think that there's a space and a place for them. But when we think about places like Instagram in particular,
In particular.
I think that it could get a little tricky because there's no real way. It is probably the least private, first of all. And there's no real way to monitor or to gauge what they're seeing, right? Because when the Explore page, you have access to everything.
Yeah, especially when they have your history. So if you looked up one thing, they'll just keep giving, the Explore page will keep giving you that. So yeah, that's definitely a big deal.
And the one thing you're looking up is usually the thing you are probably obsessing over, right? And obsessing is a big word, but it's what you're most interested in.
Yeah, and that you watch the most because they're monitoring what you are staring at the most.
Data drives everything.
Yeah.
So what we search, search engine optimization, SEO, you hear those terms all the time, right? And again, I think because I'm on that side of things, I understand that these numbers help businesses, like Instagram, still a business, make informed decisions about how they strategize things to make sure that their business thrives. I will admit, although I don't have social media anxiety, I don't believe, I am guilty of things like if I post in this outfit, I probably won't
ever wear the outfit again.
I'll wear the outfit again.
But you won't post.
I won't post the picture again, even if I feel like it's a really dope picture.
Same.
And if there's something that I feel like I don't want people to know or to see, and I don't feel like it's the best representation of me, like how you take a bunch of selfies, they say you take a bunch of selfies and you only pick one out of the 20 pictures that I'm certainly guilty of that, right? Because you want to make sure you
are definitely
look a certain way. And lastly, I feel like if there are aspects of me or my life that I just don't feel like is for the world, I will omit posting those things rather than just, some people just get Instagram happy and you look and they're posting like 5 to 10 to 20 times a day, their whole life. I am certainly, I personally do not subscribe to that. I think that, some things,
you
are
don't have
for
to
me.
post everything.
Yeah. Like I'm not interested in you maybe knowing what my bathroom looks like. Unless I'm being strategic and I'm posting
that's what I want.
A skincare brand, But some people will, they just need to post that selfie. They're in the mirror, toilet in the background. And your whole life, in the background.
For sure.
Folks know exactly what corner your closet is on. Like, there's just some things for me. There's a boundary with social media for me.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And then I would hate to be the person that needs to be consistent with a particular, kind of branding that is out there as well, too. Like, think about the fact that there's probably men or females that have already set up a platform of them being sexy, let's say, right? They have already set this platform, or they set up the platform of being the wholesome shy girl, and they want to change their image. But social media doesn't really allow for those spaces for growth and for change. I think I just want to touch on it once, like just one time, where women get it probably the most, right? Where I started off as this wholesome girl, and I worked my ass off to have the body that I have right now. I want to show it off. I want to be sexy. And then social media can then kind of completely pervert that. And then it looks as if I'm being different, but I'm not being different. I'm growing up. I'm becoming a new person, right?
Interesting.
And so overall, like, as much as that is part of the growth, because it's part of the growth. And when I became a woman, or when I worked this hard for this body, I want to show you that I worked this hard, right? But then social media can completely take that away and say things like, you ain't supposed to do that. And you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do then? I'm supposed to be what you want me to be.
I agree. I personally experienced that.
I think that's a little unfair.
I personally experienced that. And let me tell you when. So I create content for a particular brand, right? And the brand posted me. And in the photo, I'm sitting on the ground. And I'll be happy to link it in the description. I'm sitting on the ground. And my legs are apart from one another because of the positioning of the pose. I have on jeans. I'm fully clothed. I have on jeans, a coat, a hoodie, and sneakers. On the respective page, the comments were very positive, of course, because those are generally the supporters. When it hit, I believe it was Neighborhood Talks, when it hit one of those blog sites, the comments underneath were, if I was a weak-minded person, I would have been devastated. Because my shirt said, I'm speaking. Someone even posted, between her legs are speaking. And there was nothing sexual about the photo at all, right? But say someone like myself, where this could have tripped me up and I could, be experiencing what you're describing, is where now, to your point, the internet decides to sexualize or pervert something. It may not have been intended as such, but the internet almost gets to dictate, with memes and comments and trolling, the internet almost gets to dictate the intended purpose of a particular post. When really and truly, the pose and the entire post was to endorse and to show a position of power and dominance in my stature all around Kamala Harris during the inauguration week, right? So coming up into inauguration week. I was completely floored. But again, and even, I remember my esthetician was on there and she said, girl, I had to come off of there because people were on there it was insane. So it's almost as if you have to think twice about how to position yourself appropriately at all times based on what the world sees as
good.
As good. And that is such a subjective term. What is good, right? I define good for me.
That's the unfair part.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely unfair for people who are young and then they grow up. I think it's unfair for them not to be able to grow up and be sexy.
So let's talk about that, right? Because we had a conversation about Chloe and Hailey, right? So as we know, those are the two sisters that Beyonce discovered, and she discovered their singing ability. I believe they were already acting prior to that, and they came in as children, and now they're adults, right? And so I remember when the Bust It Challenge came out, it was Chloe, correct? So Chloe posed this bomb video. She does her thing, but we know Bust It was sort of like, it was super sexualized. And I thought that was totally cool. But I noticed now, as a result, maybe posts that she would have normally posted just as an adult and as a woman, now everything is from that lens for me, where I'm like, okay, why are we, switching up to this extent where now everything about what you're doing is sexualized? But honestly, the internet kind of created that narrative. Yes, she did the Bust It Challenge. However, I think that some of the posts, like if she posts herself in a bathing suit now or something like that, where she is standing in her glory, it almost becomes perverted naturally because of that particular thing. So again, that's why I say, like, social media is not real, and there's something so inorganic about it, because her being herself at home is probably super organic. But when these challenges come out, and it's almost like now you got to double think about everything that you do. Or if you're on vacation, oh boy, let me not post myself in a bathing suit. Things that you wouldn't think twice about because the internet just kind of just.
And then once the internet creates it, you now feel the need to justify yourself, change it. You start to get the anxiety that we're speaking of, where it's like, I can't even post what I want to post, or I don't know. It just becomes this ongoing cycle. And to speak back on our previous conversation, I think it's unfair for her to be judged and be like, oh, now she's being overly sexualized. I just feel as if, like, she's growing up. She's a grown woman. She worked hard for that body. Why can't she do that? And why can't she be sexy? Why can't us women be both a wholesome person and a sexual person and a lifestyle? Like, why can't we do it all? Where when we speak about how equal we are, I just feel as if at the same time, we also kind of judge these celebrities or influencers or people in our lives based off of social media, and we want them to stay a certain way. And of course we would love to them, but they got to grow up. Like, she eventually will have to have been a woman. So why not let her do her thing? If she wants to do that, that's her thing. That's her branding. I think it'd be sick of me to be like, oh, now I'm going to do it too. Because it's working out so great for her. She's getting all these likes. She's getting all this attention. Let me do it too. that is not my journey. That is not what I'm supposed to do. It will create the anxiety of me comparing it to me to her and stuff like
as opposed to it inspiring you and telling you,
let me go to the gym.
Right. Or it's safe to stand in your glory, whatever that may look like.
And whatever body type
if that even I know some people who will not cut their hair, will not take their weaves out, will not they just won't post certain things because it's not, you know, the ideal image and what's glorified. And I think that is us you know, kind of boxing ourselves back into like that oppressed state in the sense of, no, you have permission. You get to decide who you are and who you want to be. And I think that, you know,
and it's okay to have made mistakes. Like, and it's okay to try something. It did not work out.
Not on the internet,
but not on social media. And so I think it creates this place where it's like, it's not as safe for you to be yourself because you will be judged, and it's unfortunate.
Well, life is not safe.
It's not, and you will be judged whether or not you put it on the gram or you don't put it on the gram. And like you know, obviously as a mom, I've gotten mom shamed at the supermarket. You know, so like overall, like you're gonna be judged even off of social media. So you know, it is what it is. But as long as you keep a focus of who you are as a person, your journey, your goals in life, and be true to yourself, I feel as if like this. It won't play such a factor because you will be able to identify, say that's great for them, and identify that that's not part of my journey. And then if you get influenced or you feel motivated, that's one thing. But to be, you know, completely overwhelmed with I need to be this it's not healthy.
I agree.
Yes.
I think that was so well said. I could not agree with you more.
Yeah.
So definitely, you know, stay true to yourself.
Yes.
And be very, very, very mindful. And this is like, how do you call that? Like when you say it's almost like a double negative, but
yes,
mindset shifts are everything. And so I think that, you know, for those of us who may be guilty of, you know, any of this, you know, check it and just shift your thought process and be reminded that like being true to yourself, being organic is necessary. And if you can't do that, you may want to limit, you know, how accessible you are.
Limiting your social media is fine too. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we appreciate you guys stopping by for this nice, kind of informative conversation. I hope you guys appreciated it. Yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We do appreciate all of our supporters. Thank you so much, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.